Hi. So, for good or for bad, my predictions video that I made about 3 weeks ago is already starting to come to pass. I would like to share a few things with you. Okay. Okay. So, as you can see on the screen, this is a video of our Earth. This is Dutch Sense. He's a great earthquake predictor himself, but he uses science. I typically go by the premonitions that I'm getting, the visions that I'm being shown. Um, and then I check in with him periodically to see where I'm at, and I want to show you where we're at. Okay, we heard what Dutch Sense has to say about what's happened in the past, we'll say 4 days, just to be fair, because I think he made this video 2 days ago, if I remember that correctly. Now let me show you what I said 3 weeks ago. Of those will as well be affected by earthquake. Within the next will be um, there are going to be more earthquakes, particularly in Indonesia. You should watch out for a large one there. Um, Possibly even another one for Morocco. I'm sorry to say. We're going to see big movement in the West Pacific Plate, specifically the Indo-Australian Plate between New Zealand and Japan. So I expect that both of those will as well be affected by earthquakes and possibly even a tsunami, as well as the main island of Hawaii could be affected by a tsunami, because there will be an earthquake in um, the Atlantic, in the plates there. Um, excuse me, the Pacific, I mean. Um, Also in the North Mediterranean Sea between France and Spain, there will be quakes. Um, okay, so you're welcome to go back and listen to that video again. I will provide the link to that and Dutch Sense's video for you to watch in their entirety if you wish. Um, the main reason to do this video is to emphasize to you, this is not fear porn. This is your wake up call. This is that opportunity for you to prepare spiritually, to learn who you are, so that you can actually participate in helping to change this from cataclysms to minor or mild natural events. It truly is something that we can do, though not many believe that. And I am encouraging you repeatedly to take that seriously and to actively do something about that, to learn um, how you can assist in holding this back, in calming this down, in parting these storms, regardless of the form that the storm comes in. Because we are that powerful, we are that magnificent. I'm trying to find, while I'm talking to you, the gentleman that keeps track of Soho, which is the imagery we get from the sun, just so that you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about here, because a lot has happened within the past few days. That's from 3 weeks ago. But see, his name is Planet X News. He even is doing earthquake predictions at this point because he's paying attention to the Schumann resonance and he's paying attention to um, the solar observatories and how that's not it either. How everything is being affected on our planet from this binary star. So let me just share this image with you now. I have a bug bite on the back of my neck. I think a spider got me. Okay.
Either at the 10 o'clock position, the 9 o'clock position for sure, and then as it heads out and below the ecliptic plane, then we lose sight of it because of the positioning of this space satellite. It's zoomed very, very far into the sun. Now, if it was zoomed out quite a bit, we would get a broader look at this object as it's coming and going. But we would as it's sitting normally between the 9 and 7 o'clock. A lot of good imagery. I just wish it was in high definition. But back then, when these coronagraphs, these space satellites were put into space, folks, they didn't have that technology. Not
Okay. So that clearly shows you that our binary star and its entourage of uh, its own mini solar system are all very present, very visible. Some people are even capturing them in photographs. And I also want to show you some very strange happenings with our Schumann resonance in the last couple of days. Give me just a minute to find it. Okay, let me go back. Let me go back. Okay, where's it? Seriously? Okay, that was bizarro. Let's try this again. Why does it keep trying to play a video? I don't want it to play a video. Goofball. Goofball? All right. Let me find it this way then. I'll get you there in a minute. Bear with me, please. I know everybody hates video. It's crazy. Why does that video keep playing? Here we go. I found it. I found it, guys. All right. And I will share his video link as well, because he is he's a geologist and he does really great at explaining the Schumann resonance. So here's his from one day ago.
I'm a geophysicist, and I monitor the background electromagnetic spectrum, the Schumann resonances, and I talk about how these geophysical layers and energies on our planet interact with our health and wellness and our consciousness. Now, I have some breaking news for you all, because what we saw back in mid-June in the Schumann resonances that took a different observatory located in Hungary. So I don't know precisely what is happening. We're going to dive into that in this video. We're also all may be connected to things like CIA Project Gateway and DARPA Project Pandora. So a lot to unpack in this video. We're also seeing disturbances to the data feeds out of Italy at Mount Etna, and we are currently seeing a data blackout from the same observatory that recorded this data here back in June. So a lot to go over in this video, and why I want to entertain all the different possibilities and just keep you up to date and give you the most information possible. Some of these covert operations that have been occurring over the past few days using electromagnetic fields to influence our health, wellness, and consciousness. So this is the current data out of Hungary right now. Let's dive right in. Now, if you don't know, let's start with the Schumann resonances are wavelengths of light that are harmonic with the Earth. Is about 40,000 kilometers in wavelength. That gives it a frequency of about 7.8 hertz on average. And as you can see, they resonate around the planet. They resonate within the Earth, they resonate in the atmosphere, all the way out to the ionosphere, and even out into space. You have these frequencies of light. We evolved in these frequencies of light, and they interact with us biologically. Our heart connects to them. Our brain waves have the same frequency and power, and they can be in phase with the Schumann resonances, and they interact with charge carriers like electrons to influence the function of proteins and ion channels and even DNA. So these one of the deep energetic layers that connect with us. We evolved to work with these energies, and manipulation of these Schumann resonances isn't that difficult because they exist at only picotesla strengths in the magnetic field and strengths in the electric field. So what we saw here, according to the observatory out of Tomsk, Russia, the Space Observing System, was they said there was an issue with the substation. Appear out of Hungary in the east-west magnetic component. So to start, let's go back to out of Italy at the Etna Radio Observatory. This is by VLF.IT Group. You can see this is for October 3rd, and we see just an absolutely crazy background electromagnetic spectrum from 0 to 105 hertz. Now, normally the Schumann resonances would appear here nicely as horizontal bands at their different frequencies of about 8 hertz, 14 hertz, 20 hertz, 20 so on. But we're really not seeing that. Instead, we're seeing almost like this data transmission. And then since this last from Etna was received, it's gone completely dark. So it's been more than 5 days now where we haven't gotten any new background electromagnetic data from the Etna Radio Observatory. Now, something that I can point out here that's relevant to our conversation in regards to these background electromagnetic fields, what is happening perhaps, and how they may be manipulated is I want you to look here at the decibel rating for these energy fields. The lower the decibel reading, the weaker the field is. And you can see here this big spike to a higher decibel reading right at 50 hertz. Now in Europe, the power grid runs at 50 hertz. And what this is demonstrating that the electric power grid that we operate globally has field strengths stronger than the background natural electromagnetic fields like the Schumann resonances. And this interacts with our cells, our brain waves, our heart rhythms. It influences things through actions like ion cyclotron resonance. It interacts with our DNA. So this in and of itself right here is concerning because you can see just how much stronger this energy is in the 50 hertz band, which is not a natural resonant planet. So while we are biologically evolved to interact and resonate with these natural energies, more so in the 7.8 and 14 hertz range, 20 hertz range, we across the globe are seeing a very strong alteration in the background electromagnetic field. And this is during a normal day. What we're seeing here is highly bizarre. We're also seeing a big spike there, harmonic of 50 hertz at 100 hertz. So you can see how this energy bleeds across the spectrum. It's not just at 50 hertz, but you'll see it at 100, 150, 200, so on and so forth. See how so big alterations in the background electromagnetic spectrum across the planet just every single day. And what is odd is that this data feed, it went wild. We're seeing all these transmission kind of signals here, and then it stopped. Now, if we go to the space observing system and our current data, you can see the Schumann.
I just want to pause this, and I hope that you can still hear me speaking as well as the video, because sometimes that don't work out that way. But I just want to transmission part that he kept making out, the dashes and the dots. First of all, that looks like Morse code to me. Second of all, I was shown a vision in the clouds of seeing something like that happening and not understanding what it was that I was seeing exactly until now. And here's my theory on what the dashes and dots actually are. With the binary star coming nearer to our planet and affecting our planet's magnetics, which it is expected to do and very well can do because of its strength, electromagnetic strength, perhaps we are picking up its resonance, its data transfer information that's going hither and to within its own little mini solar system, and we're picking up on that experience as well, which interferes with our mental capacity, our health capacity, so on and so forth. Lots of people have been reporting feeling ill, feeling headaches, dizziness, heart palpitations, etc. And I, in my theories, believe this to be the cause of this excited solar activity from our main star that is interacting with the binary star at this time, which, as Einstein wrote, will force merge our left and right hemispheres of our brains, and we will all get an upgrade very soon. You're already getting upgraded. And I have something to say in a moment about the timeline jump as well.
Schumann resonances here very nicely. This is what the background electromagnetic field normally looks like. Here you can see mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4. Higher power that exists globally around the Earth They're given energy by lightning strikes, by the sun, various space weather influences, and these interact with us biologically. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But what I'm showing you here is that this has not been refreshed now for over a day and a half, and we don't know why. So this is a data blackout. Typically, it's just that they're doing some sort of maintenance on their system, but it is odd that we are seeing this data blackout at the same time that we are seeing this very unusual signal coming out of Hungary. So this is what happened back in June. We saw this extreme pattern of light energy out of the space observing system. The internet went wild. I did a couple videos on this, and it seemed that the most logical explanation was that we were seeing some sort of PAM4 signal. This is what a PAM4 signal looks like, and you can see the similarity between the two. And you can also see the similarity between this.
And I want you to notice that that PAM4 signal is a data transmission of approximately 2 bits of logical information transfer per whatever second or something like that. You can rewind it back and look at it in a moment. But this is data transfer, okay, that's affecting us, but coming from outside of our natural circumstances. And again, I will remind you of the wild lightning in the sky that everyone has been seeing, and the booms that people are hearing. That's another thing that was a premonition of mine that just like hit me today when I was looking over some notes, and I remembered, or I was writing down notes about how when I was younger, I would get these premonitions that were just like this big boom in my head, and I didn't know what else was happening. I didn't understand what the boom thing was about, but it's a signifier to all of this that's going on now.
PAM4 signaling is, it's a way to encode information in a very efficient manner into an electric waveform. There's a lot of different uses for it. I'm not an expert on PAM4 signaling, but you can see here it's some sort of information encoding technique. Now, this is relevant because there is declassified information on things like CIA Project Gateway. And we also have rumors and hints and little teases of the DARPA project Pandora, which is difficult to find information on, at least on the normal.
Okay, and you're welcome to listen to this whole video to research that further, if you will. But I don't believe this one has anything to do with their conspiracies, with any conspiracy or any project or program. I firmly believe that this is cyclical events that are taking place.
While back, and there's a bunch of scientific research into how the Schumann resonances interact with our biology and our heart rhythms and our consciousness. For example, the HeartMath Institute has done a bunch of research into the heart.
And I want to just pause this for a moment so that you can really look at these diagrams, because this is important for you to understand that all of this is going to affect our physiology, our psychology, and our psychic abilities. Okay. The human heart's magnetic field can be measured several feet away from the body. In fetal development, the heart forms and starts beating before the brain begins to develop. Positive emotions create psychological benefits inside of your body. Negative emotions, which are frequencies, they are energy, they are scalar waves, create nervous system chaos, and positive emotions do exactly the opposite. They calm your nervous system. Positive emotions can increase the brain's ability to make good decisions. You can boost your immune system by focusing on positive emotions. You can also lower your immune system if you're focused on low vibe. Okay, please pay attention to this, because this is crucial for our well-being of getting through this chaos. This is not just about learning who you are so that you can be a superhero to save the planet. This is about learning who you are so that you can save yourself and your loved ones.
And just some basic facts is that the heart's magnetic field disturbances to the Schumann resonances, like during a geomagnetic storm, for example, a strong solar flare impact on Earth's magnetic field can disrupt the normal heart rhythms that are measured during the day-to-day circadian rhythm. The heart is the first thing to start beating in fetal development. So it's the first part of the fetus to start connecting to these environmental electromagnetic fields even before the brain. Negative emotions can create nervous system chaos. You can see this disrupted heart rate variability signal here, whereas positive emotions create this coherent sine wave of heart rate variability, which is a very important marker of health and wellness and longevity. If you have good heart rate variability, you're less likely to have heart problems like arrhythmias or even heart attack. Now, positive emotions can...
And we don't need to go through all of that with him. And this is a diagram that Greg Braden created for the Heart Math Institute, I believe is what it's called. But I want to make very clear that I am not a supporter necessarily of Greg Braden, especially because of his latest interviews where he was trying to convince everyone that the chemtrails need to be upped and more of them need to happen in order to properly seed our planet the right way. And he also said, and you can go look it up, I'm not making shit up, I wouldn't lie on somebody. He also said that there is no pole shift that's getting ready to happen and that there's no science to back that up. And I beg his differ, because there's F tons of science to back up the fact that the pole shift is very near. So he just threw every bit of credibility he had for speaking on anything other than his heart math, in my opinion. So we're going to continue on now.
We have the Schumann resonances. These are light waves. So in effect, these are light photons vibrating at these very low frequencies of 7.8 hertz and 14 hertz and 20 hertz. And one mechanism of action that explains how these influence us so strongly and deeply is that photons interact with DNA directly by stimulating the movement of charge carriers like free electrons within the base pairs of DNA. This can trigger parts of the genome relating to stress, like heat shock protein activation. And then these electromagnetic fields can be carried through our water medium. Remember, we are 99% water molecules. They're very tiny. They infiltrate in between proteins and enzymes, and the DNA is totally hydrated completely with water. And this information then with DNA can travel through this water matrix and influence the function of proteins and enzymes and ion channels and more. We also have things like ion cyclotron resonance, where pulse electromagnetic fields like the Schumann resonances or like the power grid can interact with Earth's magnetic field, the total magnetic field, and trigger the movement of different ions, calcium ions, sodium ions, magnesium ions, because when these fields connect together at certain frequencies, they can transfer energy in a frictionless, resistanceless manner into these ions, stimulating their movement. So ion cyclotron resonance at different frequencies can, let's say, bump a magnesium ion out of a water structure, or it can open up an ion channel, and then this can influence your actual neurotransmitters in your brain, or your neural spiking, or the functioning of your nervous system. So maybe it triggers your sympathetic, stressful, fight or flight nervous system. It could also trigger your parasympathetic. It depends on the frequencies used, and it depends on Earth's magnetic field. Now, Earth's magnetic field is always subtly changing but these are the Schumann frequencies I've highlighted here. But you'll notice also some of these higher frequencies, 47.3 hertz at Earth's magnetic field strength of 0.4 Gauss, that's 40,000 nanotesla. That's right near that 50 hertz band for Europe. There we have 65. So this is, of course, a scale here. So these artificial electromagnetic fields at 50 and 60 hertz, and there's others, of course, as well that we've created, interact with us just like the Schumann resonances at a very deep level. One way that the information encoded into electromagnetic fields can interact and influence your consciousness is through magnetosomes. These are small mini magnets that are throughout our brain. They are contained in the outer dura mater and pia mater covering of our brain, but they're also located within the brain. And these have very high orientational energies. They connect to electromagnetic fields, even very weak electromagnetic fields, and they can stimulate the functioning of neurons. And there's also been genetic editing experiments into how you can create artificial magnetosomes. So let's watch some clips from a video I made in the past to understand more about magnetosomes.
Okay, so I just want to point out the importance here for you to understand what this has to do with anything else. Number one, these cyclical events that are taking place are going to affect us physically, mentally, spiritually, all the way around, emotionally, all of it. So you need to know thyself. You need to know how your brain works, how your body works, your physiology. And then also you have to understand who you are spiritually and what you can do to shield and protect your own body. Because yes, he's right. Between DARPA and the projects that the CIA have, some mad scientist somewhere certainly could come along and try to do something to thwart this great awakening for their own agenda. And how many times have we said that this is a tug of war between good and evil right now? So you need to know how to shield yourself, keep your shields up the way that we need to learn to keep Earth's shields up.
And the genetic editing experiments. One recent discovery is that inside the human brain are hundreds of millions of sensory organelles called magnetosomes. Magnetosomes are cellular structures containing magnetite Fe3O4 crystals. These small 10 to 600 nanometer wide ferromagnetic crystals are created in the brain and arranged into chains 15 to 20 long. Magnetosomes are biologic bar magnets that behave like tiny compass needles and align to magnetic fields, having magnetic orientation energies in the geomagnetic field 20 to 150 times higher than background thermal energy. Being connected to the membrane of brain cells, when electromagnetic fields vibrate the magnetite chains housed inside magnetosomes, the brain cell is also vibrated at the same frequency as the electromagnetic field. These vibrations, if strong enough, stimulate brain cells to send a message of stress to the hypothalamus. The brain adapts by releasing hormones to induce apoptosis, heal the tissues, and reestablish balance. The pia mater along with the dura mater have the greatest concentration of magnetosomes in the body, at a density of 100 million magnetite crystals per gram of tissue. The dense blood vessels of the pia mater follow the folds and extend deep into the surface of the brain. Outside the pia mater, cerebrospinal fluid flows, which contains choline and electrolytes, protecting the brain and clearing waste to the lymphatic system. Underneath the cerebrospinal fluid and pia mater is the brain itself, the cells of which also contain magnetosomes at a lower density of 5 million magnetite crystals per gram of tissue. In an average adult human brain weighing 1.3 kilograms, there are 6.5 billion magnetite crystals or more in use and for sensitivity to magnetic fields.
You are a magnetic, magnificent, crystalline being. And your magnetic crystals are being activated from both sides right now. So let's keep that in mind. Now, I will share his video so that you can watch the rest of this. But I want to move on to something else real quick. Actually, before I do that, let me just talk about how I also recently made a video about how we've jumped timelines and that this is the first of 3. We did a quantum jump, a quantum leap, jeep, whatever, into a new timeline. I'm going to just show you a few examples on YouTube of other people that just in the past week are also starting to say that you've jumped timelines. But I said it about 3 weeks ago. I also want to point out to you that the Schumann resonance and the solar flares affect our consciousness continuously every day. They are affecting our consciousness, affecting our body and how it functions, affecting our immune system, all of the above. To explain to you in simple science why that is, other than the fact that you have magnetized crystals within your body, is that you are also made of the plasma of the sun. The earth at its core is plasma. You at your core are plasma. What do I mean by that? You have plasma in your blood. When you go to a blood bank or a blood drive and you donate the plasma rather than just the blood, they are all giggly about that. They're excited about it because that is where the essence of your consciousness is in your body. It's within the plasma of the blood and within the container of your Christos fluid that is in your spinal column, your cerebral and spinal column. We are all connected. Everything is connected, literally and figuratively speaking, metaphorically speaking. We are all connected. Now, let me just show you that we have jumped timelines because many people that are much more famous than I have been speaking of this. Okay, let me do this to where it shows just the most recent. Look, we did it. We jumped timelines. That's mine. Then we have well, there's lots of people talking about jumping timelines other than the fact that we just did this. Okay, here's one. We're jumping timelines. Jumping timelines. There's a good one. Battling demons, connecting cosmic energy, jumping timelines. 4 days ago, we're jumping timelines. UC Berkeley physicist says that we're changing our reality. Well, I'm not exactly finding all of the ones that I've been seeing show up on my news feed recently on my suggested videos. But anyway, you get the point. Um, we've jumped timelines, and we're going to continue to jump timelines. And the better prepared you are physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually, the better we're all going to get through this. And again, I am offering classes to teach you how to do this. I wanted to give it away for free, but free has no value. For whatever reason, in people's minds, free has no value. Well, apparently so valuable that they don't want me to tell you, because I believe that you just witnessed in my recording that I got dropped out of this Zoom meeting because they listen. They listen to everything we say. And now my camera is zooming in and out on me. But my information that I have for you is very valuable. You have to be willing to learn it.